thing about politics, let's hit on. We talked about Elizabeth Warren. Guess what, folks? Now, you heard me mention this on the last podcast, and you like the idea. I listen to H.A. Goodman. He's just a pundit kind of guy on the internet. He's a writer. He's written for Huffington Post, some other shit. Big Bernie guy, now is a Trump guy, and he is adamant that Hillary Clinton is getting into this, and he's been saying it for a year now that she's going to backdoor in. I painted the picture to you that I think it's perfect. Like a football team, you don't play anybody in the preseason for the 4 weeks. No criticisms, no getting hurt, no bumps, no bruises, no nothing. And you slide right in at the end. Now, Biden, the only way that's going to happen, she will not run against Biden. He has to drop out for this to happen. So make that clear, folks. If this happens, it's got to be a 1-2 domino. But there is a chance, and we're seeing her now rallying with Warren. She's got to be in the fucking spotlight. Hillary Clinton now teaming up with Elizabeth. Why?
Here's where I disagree with you on that one, okay? So first of all,
why are they together?
First of all, I would fucking love that. There's nothing I would love to do more than to shove Hillary Clinton down the throat of every Republican in America. I would fucking love to do that. It would be great. God, that would
that'd be a civil war.
Let me just enjoy that thought for 1 second.
Think about that for a second.
Yeah, that was great. So obviously, that would be amazing. But
you need some Jergens.
Let me give you a perfect example. So I'm talking to this girl. I have this great girl I talk to. And so we're talking about politics. And she goes in about how Hillary is like, has all these bad stuff about her, just like Trump. And so I thought to myself, in the middle of this conversation with this nice person, can I dissect all the propaganda the Russians and the Republicans have thrown at Hillary for the past 8 years because they knew she was going to be president? It's because Putin was mad that she meddled in his election to get rid of him. Is there any way that I can talk to this normal person who isn't like totally engaged in politics and explain to them, listen, this is mostly propaganda. She is the best pay-for-play politician, but is not really a criminal, is not really killing people. And I just didn't even have the conversation. I'm just like, well, yeah, I guess. So it's just the Russians have successfully tainted Hillary, and the Republicans have successfully tainted Hillary. Now, I hate it because it's unjust and it's not right. But even me, a big Hillary supporter, won't take the time out of their day to fix somebody's head because the propaganda is so heavy.
You don't think Hillary hurt herself a little bit with her actions?
Of course. She's no perfect person. Yeah, and of course, women don't like her because she stayed with Bill. And there's all kinds of different things.
I don't mean that. I mean political shit.
No, yeah, but that hurt her politically. That's why a lot of women, I think, didn't come out and vote for her.
Sure.
But here's the thing. Elizabeth Warren is organized right now. And yes, she has a Pocahontas thing, but she's not nearly as tainted as the Clintons. So I don't see why Elizabeth Warren would settle down and let Hillary take the shot at possibly losing again when Elizabeth Warren did that last time. And Elizabeth Warren saw what happened. Hillary lost, right? So there's no way that Hillary's going to get or Elizabeth Warren will take a backdoor to Hillary. There's no way. Elizabeth Warren is on a roller coaster. I mean, she is steaming forward like a steam train.
I will say that. You just made a good point. She would be playing a Marco Rubio stab in the fucking back if Hillary somehow jumped in this race late and fucked Elizabeth Warren over, who's really riding pretty high here. Definitely a solid number 2 behind Biden. And if something happens with Biden, she does step into number 1.
It's Elizabeth Warren's election to win, folks. Listen, if you bet on a horse and you have a horse race and your horse is in 3rd place and it's starting to come up into the big part of the race, the last lap, guess what? That's exactly where you fucking want to be. You want to be exactly where she is. She has all the energy behind her. She has tons of money behind her. She's very organized. Women will come out to vote for her. She's a consumer advocate, so people will feel safe with her, and she's a perfect person to prosecute all these idiots that need to be prosecuted right now. So I am firmly in Elizabeth Warren's camp right now. I liked Harris before, but Harris just ran a weak campaign. So it's all about liar. It's all about Warren. It's all about Warren right now.
You lied about pot. You put a bunch of people in jail for pot, and then you get on a fucking radio show because Charlemagne the God wants to know if you smoke pot. And if you listen to Tupac, like anyone should give a flying fuck who really votes for people. If that's a prerequisite to you getting voted for, we're all fucking fucked. Because Trump didn't do either, by the way, and so there's that.
Trump could use to smoke a little weed.
Yeah, he probably could. But he likes McDonald's more. But the thing is that Kamala is also just a lot. I mean, what a hypocrite. You know
Do
what I
you
mean?
think that Texas and North Carolina will vote for Warren? Because they say that Texas and North Carolina are in play. Now, they say that all the time, but it seems like there's a growing Hispanic population there. Beto did great there, and Beto did great with white voters, not just with the Hispanic voters.
Listen, there's a problem.
These states are churning.
There's a problem.
I think that they might appeal to Elizabeth Warren might appeal to them.
Well, let me answer that in 2 ways. First of all, you're right. This was going to be our next topic here was Texas going blue. It's definitely purple. It's falling into that Florida territory, folks. So if you are, a Republican, your GOP, be very scared, because if Texas turns, they don't need to fuck with the Electoral College. There will never be another Republican president ever again. Then we'll get to North Carolina in a second, because North Carolina is on the map because of this a vacant seat, a congressional seat that should easily go Republican, and it's not. And I believe
because
that vote might even be tonight.
He cheated, but we'll go into that.
Okay,
yeah, that's like right now. It's like happening right around.
Literally,
right around,
right. I think it's today. So that's a huge. Pay attention to that, folks. That's a huge story, because that could be the bellwether for what happens for North Carolina. Trump won North Carolina by 12 points. They fully expect him to do it again. It is not a gimme. It is not a gimme. But let me just say this about Texas. The thing is that you got a lot of Californians moving in. You have a lot of Hispanics moving in. Hispanics can go both ways. They tend to lean Democrat. Let's say it goes 70-30. Some maybe more conservative, but still 70-30. Texas is on the brink. It may not happen in 2020, but the Democrats aren't worried about that. If it happens in 2024 and ad infinitum, they're happy. Yeah. If it happens in 2028 ad infinitum, they're happy. It ain't that far down the road.
Beto lost his election to Ted Cruz by 2.6%.
Barely. Way too close.
And
Way
Ted
too
Cruz
close.
is like a stalwart in Texas.
Yeah, and Beto's a clown.
Yeah, exactly.
It's embarrassing.
Yeah, and then also what they were saying is they've done like some math, and they said if Beto ran against Ted Cruz in a general, because more people come out in the general, the more population turnout would have put him in the seat.
That's entirely possible. As we know, those off-season elections have way less turnout. That's scary to know, because now we're seeing Beto's presidential campaign. And again, I don't know how a loser for a Senate seat runs for president, but guess what? He's now playing in Bill de Blasio's fucking sandbox. It's failing. And he is a clown. I can't stand that guy. Like, when I look at Pete Buttigieg, I don't dislike him or can't stand him. I just don't support him over, who I like. But Beto and a lot of people,
I don't know where Beto goes from here, but I think that Buttigieg has probably earned himself some sort of position in government. I think he'll definitely be picked up. I think Andrew Yang could be like a commerce secretary or something, Well,
it would be smart. I think whoever wins, because these two guys probably won't, should integrate these guys in
absolutely.
some way.
Get their following.
Yeah, and Buttigieg, if he has, look, Buttigieg's a young, first of all, they're both very young men. These guys are not over. They're going to make runs again. Joe Biden's ran many times. McCain's ran many times. Hillary's run many times. We know this isn't a one-time fucking deal for any of these people. They're young men. Buttigieg needs to get bigger. See, Andrew Yang's not a politician, so he's playing the businessman card.
If Buttigieg was a governor coming in, he would be a tough candidate.
His only problem is, unfortunately, his gayness for even some minority voters is not a turn-on, and it's not something that's going to help him. He doesn't resonate with black voters because he had some racial incidents in South Bend, which happens to be a pretty kind of a black city. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you have this white young mayor, gay guy. The African-American community is not overwhelmingly pro-gay. You can go look that up. They just tend not to be. But the bottom line is they're not that warm on him, and he's going to need to capture that audience.
And that's going to be a tough relationship to build. You can see it's going to be
hard. He'll never win.
He speaks very comfortably, but whenever he's in those situations, he looks uncomfortable.
He's also maybe a little too articulate and smart for some of, not, and I don't mean this about black folks, I mean just the lower people that just like Biden because he's Biden.
Yeah, he speaks above the white collar,
he does.
The blue collar.
He's a sharp dude, and Beto's not. And Beto's all rambunctious, and he's all hyperbole. But Buttigieg gets up there, and he's very articulate and smart, and maybe too much so. He's not enough of a character. There's no character here.
But there is a bunch of characters in the whole Democratic primary here. So I think that the Democrats did good in putting all these characters out there, because some resonate with some people, and the country was completely brainwashed by Russian propaganda. So it helped to get all of these liberal ideas out there to kind of wake some people the fuck up. So I think that this massive primaries we had with all these candidates is actually a good thing.
Yeah, the bottom line. Oh, and speaking of, on a side note, we're going to go to break in about 1 minute here. Speaking of primaries, how about all these states are like, we don't even need a fucking Republican primary. They're kind of bending to Trump. Trump kind of suggested it, like, there's nobody even running against me. Don't waste the fucking money. And they're kind of looking at it like,
well, Republicans are smart because they had these kind of three broken candidates, and they're running them, and it's giving those candidates a chance to rebuild their names. So they're rebuilding these broken candidates as anti-Trumpers, so it makes them kind of palatable. And then if Trump wins, great, you've got him. If Trump doesn't win, then you're like, oh, well, we tried to, primary him. We're still decent Republicans. You know what I'm saying? And in the meantime, you rehab these three broken souls you got, because Republicans can't let go of a politician.
Some of these people, like Anthony Scaramucci with his Joe Walsh shit, they're delusional. There is no more Republican Party Party. We talked about this on the last podcast about how the Democratic Party's fractured. The Republican Party is also fractured as well. You have your rhinos, like your John McCain's and your Paul Ryans and all that. But the Trump voters, they don't like these motherfuckers. They don't like Mitch McConnell.
And you still have Tea Party guys floating around.
Yeah, and those Tea Party guys were your Trump. Those are the people that became your Trumpies. They were the fringe. They're the QAnons. They're the fringe. They're the gun nuts. So what you started to see was it's a Trump party. And I got news for you. I said this before. There is no Republican that can legitimately run. And Jesse, if you want to cue up that music, we'll go out on this note. Go research it. Don Jr. already making waves about running in 2024. That's why they're calling
man, that guy's a twerp.
a Trump
Get the fuck out of here.
dynasty
Don Jr.
on its way. Donnie Jr.